There's been a lot of rumors about Evgeni Malkin throughout this summer. He's heading into the final year of his contract. He's 39 years old this season. So there's been a lot of rumors about his future. Could this be Evgeni Malkin's last ride? Could this be the last year before he rides off into the sunset and calls it a career? It's year 20, after all, for Evgeni Malkin. But a lot of those questions were answered on the first couple of days of training camp. First, it was Kyle Dubas at his introductory press conference saying that the Olympic break is a period that the potential contract extension talks could happen. Maybe just a couple months here to see what Evgeni Malkin looks like, to see how he's performing. And not only that, but as Malkin said a day later, how the team's performing at that point, what their future could be in the short term, and whether or not it makes sense for Evgeni Malkin to fit into those plans. This is what Malkin had to say after one of the first practices of the 2025-26 season. Quote, "It depends on how the season is going. If we play great, and I play great, and I feel confident and show my game, why not one more year? This season is huge for me, my team, myself. I'm still hungry." And I like that quote from Evgeni Malkin. And if you want the full comments, the full conversation with Evgeni Malkin and a bunch of local reporters, you can check out Josh Yohe's piece of The Athletic in the comment section below. There's a link to it, and you can read the entire conversation that Josh wrote about. I think this just makes too much sense. It really does, for the organization and for the player here. Whether it's Malkin, whether it's Crosby, whether it's Letang, even guys like Carlson or Brian Rust, they don't want to go out the way that it's been going. 3 straight playoff absences, that's no way to end a career. And if it goes bad this year, 4 straight, that's not a way to end a career. And in Malkin's case, a Hall of Fame career. But at the same time, is this year a little too early to hope for that last-ditch playoff run, even though it is Malkin's last year of his contract? Yeah, it might be. Never say never, but I think if you look at the team on paper, if you look at the expectations of the season, it is a long shot for the Penguins to not just make the playoffs, but to make noise in the playoffs as well. But if you look a little bit further into the future and you look at next season, maybe it's not. You'd be another year into this rebuild. The Pens have sufficiently tore it down at an organizational level. They have collected the most draft picks of any team over between last year's draft and the next couple. They have over $50 million, at least expected to, in salary cap space going into next season. They're in a position where, while no, I don't think anybody expects them to become the second coming of the last couple of years Florida Panthers in a year, they're in a position where next season, that's a lot more of a reality. So, yeah, this makes a lot of sense because it is this year a pivotal year for the team, for its rebuild, and for Evgeni Malkin. If you look at him specifically, when those contract negotiations were happening a couple of years ago, the big story was Evgeni Malkin wanted 4. He wanted 4 years. It wasn't 2 years that he wanted. It wasn't 3 years that he wanted. He wanted a 4-year contract. He wanted to play 4 more years. And when he made that signing the night before free agency all those years ago, what was the sentiment? Penguins forever. That happened to be 2 words that he mentioned once again this week at training camp. Penguins forever. So he wanted 4 years, and he got those 4 years. But a 5th was never guaranteed. And it still isn't. He has to fight for it, which is a wild thing to say about a first ballot Hall of Famer entering his 20th season in the NHL. And we've brought this up, this short 2-word phrase, to talk mostly about rookies or mostly about younger NHL players that are trying to prove that they belong either at this level or in this organization. It's a show me year for Evgeni Malkin. I know. Crazy that we're talking about it that way, but it's exactly what it is. It's a year for Gino to show the organization, to show the fan base, and most importantly, to show himself that he has more to give, that he has more to give the game, that he has more to give the organization, and that he has more to give his entire career. Not just this year, but quite possibly, as he said, why not one more year if I'm playing well, if the team is showing signs of life, showing signs that the arrow is now pointed in the upward direction instead of the downward direction that it's been pointing for the last couple of seasons. So I love this, especially because it puts Evgeni Malkin in a position that he's been in before, a position where there's a lot of people doubting him, a position where he has to fight with his back against the wall. And what has he done in his career almost every single time that he's been put into that position? He's come out swinging and he's connected on a lot of those punches. People talk about that contract extension. You know, we talked about it a couple minutes ago. He wanted 4-year deal. Even when he signed the 4-year deal, a lot of people were saying, man, you know, I know he took a pay cut, but 4 years, what does he have left? The guy can even play a full season. How many games is he even going to play? That was a huge thing. That was a huge reason that people were upset about him signing that contract, is because he wasn't able to stay healthy before it. Well, what does he do that following season? After everybody had talked about that, after everybody had started to doubt him a little bit, not only did he play in all 82 games, he scored 27 goals and he tallied 83 points. And now I understand in year 2 and year 3 of that contract, the numbers have dropped off, specifically last year. You put him in the similar position again that he was in year 1 of his contract. I understand he's a little bit older. I understand he once again is coming off a season where he was hampered by a couple injuries. But you put Evgeni Malkin in a corner. You tell him, hey, prove that you deserve to get another year added onto your contract, and you get another year to where you can play for this team into the rebuild. I'm going to bet on Evgeni Malkin every single time. I really am. It's a uncharacteristically show me year for Evgeni Malkin in year 20. The plan is set. We'll see how he plays. We'll see how the team plays. And we'll see around the Olympic break if these conversations start to kick up again. I know that's something I'm looking forward to, and something that a lot of Penguins fans are going to be keeping their eye on as well.